Yeah. Alright. So I made a video where we were doing chapter 1 again. We started. I messed it up. So we already went over some of these, and I just did my little opinion. But we're going to read through all of them. This is the first version of Bendy ever modeled. In the earliest concepts, Bendy was much smaller and cuter, with a face that split open to reveal a terrifying mouth. I wish they had two here to show him with his closed mouth. Ooh, my knee. And right above him, we have Beta... No, Alpha Bendy. No. Yeah, no. Beta Bendy. Damn. So here's the Alpha Bendy. This is the original game... This is the original game used design of Ink Bendy. In the earliest version of Chapter 1, it is jokingly referred to as bird poop with a smile among the development team. I can see that. Beta Bendy. This was Ink Bendy's form until the release of Chapter 4. At that time, the game received a major visual upgrade, and the title character got a new model as well. Ink Bendy. Ink Bendy as we know him today. Although similar to Beta Bendy, this upgraded version was remodeled, enhanced with a remodeled, enhanced with a higher polygon count, and given new ink effects. Oh my god, I can't read. Beast Bendy. Ink Bendy's horrific initial. Oh my god, I can't read. Ink Bendy's horrific final form in Chapter 5 pulled away the cartoon facade and revealed the demon within. Wow, that sounds like one of those Sigma posts. You don't want to see the demon within. But it makes sense because he's an actual demon. Beta Searcher. Early in development, with just a few weeks to create Chapter 2, the Beta Searchers were designed in a record time before being fully retooled later on. They were the first fighting enemies encountered in the game. Final Searcher. The Final Searchers were more robust in appearance. They were smoother with better ink effects and a more human appearance. Yeah, I agree. You can actually see their anger, whereas this one was just like, oh, what? You know, and this one actually has fingers. Beta Sammy. With his first appearance in Chapter 2, fan favorite Sammy Lawrence became a terrifyingly entertaining character. When his slim build was deemed not threatening enough, he was redesigned and given a better skeletal rig for more advanced animation. Yeah, and you can tell side by side, when we get to Chapter 2, again, you'll see in the audio log, I'll play it out too, and I'll be quiet when it's reading, that, Susie says he's quite a handsome man. And then there's a butcher gang. Striker, Piper, Striker, Fishers. Final Sammy. Sammy Lawrence's final form became complete with a bulked up stature and more powerful limbs. The mad songwriter may finally get noticed now, at least by fans. Yeah, I like him. They did him really good with this one. And there's one of the lost ones, I think is what they're called. I don't really have anything written about her, but yeah, she stayed the same throughout the entirety. She didn't really get a chance to change. Is that his chair? No, that's the chair beside it. Beta Boris. Papa was the original name of the character that eventually became Boris the Wolf. This version was released with Chapter 1. He was quickly refined into the Boris we know today with the release of Chapter 2. Boris the Wolf. Boris the Wolf, a friend to the end, was designed using various references from cartoons of the 1920s. A blend of West Coast and East Coast animation styles, this silent and supportive wolf won over the hearts of many. Although at times he was a headache for the development team due to his AI taking on a mind of its own during production. Brute Boar, and you can tell, and I think this is like a running theme, but things that like have almost actually, well, these guys haven't lost their minds. Those have, and you can tell by their inky, actually like shiny ink. This guy he's not like as gooey as this guy is. You can see it flowing. Sammy isn't, but he's still shiny. I think your ink can decay, and when you've touched actual ink, or if you like Boris, see how smooth he is. He doesn't have like any ink really when you see this guy. But then this is when Alice is tinkering with him. He has that glowy ink, kind of like Sammy does. This one is flowing, well, same as the lost ones, and same as Beast Bendy. Ink Demon having the most, I'd say. I'd say the more that you touch the ink and get engulfed by it, the more mad you become, or how much it can affect you. It's like Sammy, it made him crazed. Maybe. And the lost ones, it made them depressed, knowing they'll never be able to see anyone outside of this factory again. And then that could explain why Beta Boris, because if we know Alice was testing on her. Brute Boris. Alice Angel's monstrosity Brute Boris was one of the biggest surprises of Chapter 4. His design was roughly based on the Frankenstein monster, but with a more unfinished appearance. Alice took parts from within him and substituted things that his body is rapidly rejecting. And I think that could explain, like, she put pure ink. I think there's different types of ink in this game. I read this in the first video we did on this part, but Bendy and the Ink Machine began when developer/cartoonist known as the Meatley experimented with bringing a sketch 2D style into a 3D world. After turning the idea into a horror game, Chapter 1 of the game was created in little under a week with programmer/friend Mike Mood and released on February 10th in 2017. Much to their surprise, it struck a chord with global indie gamers almost overnight. The Meatley and Mike Mood decided to drop all other projects to work on Bendy and tell a most unique ink story. The entire game was completed a chapter at a time in a year and a half by a small, dedicated group of indie developers. Although the concept and story remained as originally intended, oh my god, I can't talk. The game changed over development as characters and models were refined from their early thrown together versions. The archive is a peek behind the scenes of that process. Henry Stein. Once an equal business partner of Joey Drew, Henry Stein was a talented animator and character designer until leaving the company around 1930. His place in Joey Drew Studios' history is somewhat undocumented, but he is often rumored to be the true creator behind many of the studio's most memorable creators. Once again, I mentioned this already, but I think Henry is a false prophet. That face, like, you lose your memory once as you start getting consumed by the ink. You'll start losing your memory, and I think that happened with Sammy, that face, and you recognized you, but you didn't fully. That's why he cut himself off. And same with this guy. I think he doesn't like you, not just because you're an outsider. I think because you are one of the main reasons that this place ever happened. So, and that final thing is why I don't think Joey is the Ink Demon. A, because we saw him at the end. I think he's supposed to keep you in a loop. But, B, the Ink Demon. Why'd he save us? He could have just he didn't have to fight for us. He didn't have to fight the Protectionists. And I think Alice knew who we were. Because she was consumed by the ink once, and she's tried to not touch the ink once. She hasn't fully lost who she was. She forgot her name, but she can remember people. So I'm thinking, if Joey's anyone, Joey is Boris. Purely off the fact that they were supposed to be friends, Joey and Henry. That would explain why Boris was so happy to help. Original ink machine. Before a major visual upgrade, this version of the ink machine was the one used in the game. Much of the machine's iconic fan-loved design was translated into the final version. So almost the entirety of this was translated, just larger and more detailed. The Butcher Gang. The Piper, Stryker, and Fisher make up the dreaded Butcher Gang. Interestingly, the ink-corrupted versions of the characters were designed first and then were reverse engineered back in their more family-friendly cartoon form. So yes, ink corrupted, which means ink does corrupt you, and I'm pretty sure the more ink you get, the more insane you become. So I don't think the level of gooey, that sounds wrong, how shiny you are really means anything. I think the more corrupted by the ink you are. Okay, so that actually changes a lot of what I said off of that pure reading. This Allison Angel, she wasn't corrupted by the ink. She's a good person, right? But this one isn't. Is it? Oh my god, I can't tell. Like, what is that bow looking thing? Is that a bone? Like, see that white thing? Oh, that's her hands. No. I don't know. No, because she didn't have it. Oh, what is her arm look like? I know his arm's skinny. Anyway, I think she is corrupted by the ink. I think there's different things. I think Sammy just went insane. He couldn't handle what happened. Maybe, I'm thinking he was an egotistical freak. So, when his mask came off, he hid his face because he didn't want you to see his face. Because he didn't have a face. I mean, maybe he was so obsessed with his face before becoming ink. It's why he wears the mask, instead of just because he wants to be a prophet. And that means the ink demon, because we've seen multiple Borises, right? There are a ton of Borises, so I'm gonna spoil the next game, but you come across a Bendy, you come across Bendy. There's a little suit. So I'm thinking Bendy can even be corrupted by the ink. Oh no, I just debunked my thing about Joey being Boris. Never mind. Because we know this is Tom. Okay, it was mentioned that he liked being called Tom. He remembers who he is. He hasn't been corrupted. She doesn't. She's lost her memory. Maybe she's touched a bit of the ink. I'm not sure. It's really confusing. You'd have to go through and watch it all consecutively. Whereas I was doing this over 2 days. I guess that's still harsh. But whatever. Huh. Sammy wants to be a prophet. I don't... Well, okay, well, I'm just gonna spoil again. Sorry, spoiler alert. I'm gonna start spoiling a little more now. If you want to leave, you can. But, not chapter 2. The next game, Dark Revival. If it sounds like I'm breathing like really fast, like I'm out of breath, it's just I breathe fast. Also, this mic is very, very sensitive. Like, I can hear myself. It's just like that. Like, if I have a can here, right? Picks it up pretty easily. Like, my baggy chips here too. If I do this, I can hear it very audibly. Sorry, one of my friends is messaging me about my heavy breathing. I'm trying to figure out what video it is, because if it's one of the if it's chapter 3 to 5, it's because I'm nervous. 376. Sorry, I'm gonna check it. I forgot that was a video Joseph's house. I realized what they meant. So yeah, at the beginning of episode 6, I was like, yeah, no, I was just me doing a poor sigh. But yeah. I can do more in the archive. Actually, if you want, comment down below. I'll do some research, and I'll try and figure out everything that I talked about and make it a bit better, and do a video talking about what I think. So, we're gonna go back, and when I do chapter 5, I'm going to explore Joey's house more, because I want to see if there's anything